Hello and welcome to Adventures in One Love. I'm Lydia, and today we are joined by my dear friend Maribel. Maribel, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Today's conversation is going to be a little bit different. Part of what we do in One Love is we want sons and daughters to realize their place in the kingdom. And once you know who you are in Christ, then you can use that, use your testimony, use your gifts, use your talents to bring glory to the kingdom. And Maribel and I have been dear friends for a long time. I'm blessed to do life with you. Share a little bit about your background. How long have you been a believer? And how do you serve in the church today?
Well, I came to know Christ when I was little, about 6 years old. And then, like a lot of people, I got lost when I was a teenager, and then I came back. And so I will say like the last 8 years have been a transformation of my life with God. And so when I got married in 2016, I joined Faith Assembly and have been with them ever since. And I get to working on doing Faith Institute, and I'm also part of an amazing ministry that's biblical lay counseling. And so we get to just talk with people and get to pray over them and just kind of hear people out in stressful moments, whatever it may be.
But take me to Choices. So you introduced me to Choices Pregnancy Center. They're here in Central Florida. They have 2 locations. And we are rocking the shirts. This is for their Walk for Life. That's going to happen in May of 2022 this year. But you introduced me to this great organization. Such a blessing. Share a little bit about how you found out about Choices.
Okay. I want to say it was like either 2019 or 2020. It was probably 2019. They actually came to Faith Assembly, and she did a presentation to explain, who is Choices Clinic, what are they about, and how they are a clinic that are out there to help women who are abortion-minded and trying to let them know, like, hey, there's other choices. You don't need to have an abortion. And so it touched my heart. And so I reached out and I said, hey, I want to volunteer anyway, any place that you need me, I'm here for it. And so I did so. I got to meet Vicki Matthew, who's the executive director. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And talked with her. I talked with Christina Bishop, who runs the UCF clinic. And so we shared our stories. We shared why this is so important to us. And I've been training and learning a lot about their thing. And so here we are today trying to be more involved. And so just little by little getting to know more and figuring out, like, Lord, where is it that you need me specifically? Because they offer so much. It's not just abortion recovery. There is parenting. There is helping women who just need maybe financial classes. Like, they offer so much. Life coaching, everything. Yeah. So it's an awesome organization.
Recovery process. This is something that you're actually walking through yourself right now. Can you share a little bit about how you got to learn about that program and what led you to say yes, to do it?
Wow. Okay. So it really started off when I said, all right, Lord, yes, let's move forward. And so in sharing my story with Vicki and Christina and learning about what they offer, well, one of the first things they said is, hey, there's this class that we do. It's called Abortion Recovery. It is for women who have gone through abortions and just need healing. It's an amazing 8 weeks. You should do it. And I was like, okay. And I was like excited, but it's been a crazy journey because you have no idea, like, when you're first doing it, you're like, yeah, I can totally do this. But it's challenging. And so in my case, I had my abortion in 2003. I was 19. I am 38 now. So it's been several years. Mm-hmm. And I have, I was young. And so you just kind of like push it down. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't share it with anyone. I shared it with 2 people. And that was it. I never talked about it again. When I got back from the Lord, I shared it with a couple other people. And I received love because they were my family, like they were my cousins and a couple of friends. I also felt judgment from some because no one really knows, like, why, it's easy to say, like, I would never do that. But really, that's across the board. women who have been in an abusive relationship, it's so easy to get out. It's not. It's so easy to make a decision. It wasn't. You have everything to think about, and you're thinking about your family, and you're thinking about, I'm 19, I can't afford a baby, I can't do this on my own. And then there's, and then you have the world telling you it's okay. Just get, you have your whole life in front of you. That wasn't the case, but,
There's a lot of different things I think we're told.
Yeah.
And now that creates confusion.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that you don't really ever know. I think once you hear someone's had an abortion, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But then when you hear the story, you're like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that's relatable. And so, and I don't say that lightly, but if it's already happening in the church, I think that we need to be more comfortable. Just like I can share that I am a survivor of molestation and abuse, I should be able to say that I'm a survivor of that if that was the case. And I think it's easier to say that we were victimized, but that for you, that was this very similar situation. I know countless women that are forced into having abortions, whether it's from an abusive relationship or family pressures. So as much as you're comfortable sharing, can you kind of share what your frame of mind was?
So my story starts off, I was 19. I was dating this guy that I eventually married. And so we had been dating for a while, and I kind of like, something's weird with my body. Like something like started to click. And I was like, man, this feels like I need to take a pregnancy test. So sure enough, I get one done, and I'm like, okay, I am pregnant. What am I going to do? And I always said I wanted to be a young mom. I always said I wanted to marry young. Like that was just like what I always wanted. So I had grown up in the church. I left probably when I was like 15, 16 and kind of stepped into the world. But even living in the world, like the fear of God was always there. The truth about God was always there. Now, did I follow it? Did I, obviously I was doing my own thing. And so I knew I was doing wrong, but I also knew like, well, this is just where I'm at. And so when I told my boyfriend at the time, like, hey, I'm pregnant, what are we going to do? Well, you should have an abortion. And it's like, I don't really feel that's okay. I don't feel that's right. And I was kind of like in this position, like, I can't have an abortion. Like, that's not something I want to do. And so basically he told me like, well, then I'll just leave you and you're going to have to figure it out. Well, yeah, great. Except for that, my brother just had a baby about a year before. He's living at home with my parents. My parents are helping him raise a baby. I'm not going to come in with another baby on people that my parents, like, we're grown-ups. They're too old to have two babies at that. Like, that's not their responsibility. I wasn't working at a great job. I may be working at like a cashier somewhere making minimum wage. And so like you start thinking about all that and you realize having a baby isn't cheap. My parents could help me, but they're already helping my brother. And so as he tells me this, I was furious because I'm like, I didn't get into this by myself. Like, why can't you help me? Like, if you don't want to be a part of the life, then that's fine, but the help would be great. But it was very like, he was just like, no, we can't have a baby. We can't do this. Not going to happen. So doing the abortion recovery class, like all the things I forgot about finally start coming to mind. And so he's the one that looked everything up. He's the one that found the places to go to. I don't remember any of that. I just remember being numb, being upset, and just angry. Angry at that he put me in a position where I didn't know what to do. I was very lost in the world. So it's like, it is what it is. Like I, for years, blamed only him, but I had a lot to blame myself as well. And so we go to this place, and I remember it was just like this small little room in the first clinic that I went to. And when I tell you, every chair was full. A lot of young people, couple maybe older, and you can't really look at someone and think, hey, that person's 30 or that person's 10. But the amount of people that were in there, it was full, that I was sitting on my boyfriend's lap because it was so packed. And I just remember sitting there and crying, and you could see the girls in the corners crying. And when I went in, they basically, I remember they like gave me the exam. I did not see anything. It's just like they give you the test, they check and see if you're pregnant. They say, okay, you're about this far along, you can have an abortion. I don't remember any other conversation as to like, these are your options. No, you can have an abortion. I ended up taking something to help the process. And then the next day, I think I was scheduled to actually do the whole procedure. So I remember I took the pills. And if you've ever seen the movie Unplanned, the things that she says that happens when you take these pills is very true. So, and you know, the pain, just crying and like miserable. I remember just sitting in the shower, bawling in pain and just like so angry at myself that I can't turn this back now. Like I have to go through it. The next day we went to the next clinic, and I remember there were people standing outside holding signs like, you don't need to do this. But it was like, there was such a fog on me. There was such a walking blind, like kind of like numb to the feeling. And, you know, I had my procedure that day and just remember going home and I think lying in bed completely just numb to the world. And so after this, like, you know, I remember I had told a friend of mine, like my best friend, and I was going to share it with her. And then I find out she's pregnant at the same time, which was devastating because your best friends, what do you talk about as kids? We're going to be married together. We're going to have kids together, all this stuff. And I am happy for her situation, but I am even more broken inside because, you know, she's, you know, this is what we talked about. And now, like, you know, I sat there and made a decision. It took just a lot of putting those feelings down deep inside of me and just not really thinking about it. So after this, about 2 years later, I end up marrying the guy. And, you know, we kind of talk about life because that's what you do when you're going to get married. We talk about like, yeah, we'll have kids, we'll do this, this is what we want. And I remember while we were married, just never getting pregnant again. Never getting pregnant again. And just kind of like, man, why? What's wrong? Like, you know, whatever. And then he was never like, he never wanted kids. It was always a reason why we couldn't have kids. We should wait, we should wait, we should wait. It was a very abusive relationship. He was very controlling. And, you know, when you're in that cycle, you kind of don't realize you're in it. And so you kind of just flow with it because you don't know what else to do. Mm-hmm. So before we got divorced, I was finally like, look, I'm going to be 30 soon. Like, I think it's time. We've been married since I was 21. What's going on? Like, maybe I can't get pregnant because of this or that. Yeah. And so I find out, well, I can't get pregnant. It's not a possibility for me. And so I was like, if I was broken then, like, it broke me even more because now here I am thinking like, I know that sometimes our actions have consequences, but no one has an abortion with the intention of, I'm never going to have kids. Every person that's ever had an abortion, I'm sure majority are like, we can worry about that later. We can have kids when we're older. Sure, maybe there are some that are like, they just don't want kids ever, and then that's that. But I'm sure there's so many women out there with the intention of, I'll just have kids when I'm ready. I never got that. And so it's just been a decision that was so easy, kind of, I guess, to do. Mm-hmm. But the lifetime effect that it had is just something that I never thought would be the case, you know?
Yeah. I am sorry. But I know that God has a bigger plan.
He does.
And I appreciate your strength in sharing it. But a lot of that strength is coming from the fact that you are addressing it and you are getting real healing for it now. But I want to encourage, and I hope that by hearing Maribel's testimony, that you can hear it was a process of healing because you went through inner healing.
Yes.
And it didn't necessarily come up that you should get focused healing on.
No. So the funny thing is like, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. So I got married in 2016. When my husband and I, we talked about, we made the decision that, like, you know, he's got 3 kids and that was good. Obviously I couldn't have kids either. And so I'm like, all right, Lord, this is where you brought me. This is where I'll be. But even knowing that, every time I found someone that I knew that got pregnant, it just was not a happy feeling. It was like I was sad, I was jealous. Oh, the jealousy. Like, I can't believe it. And it was like, And so I remember one year I found out someone I know was pregnant, and it just made me so angry. And I remember going into my bedroom and I was praying and I was like just having a conversation with God, and he needed to liberate me from that because the anger was real. And I remember being like, all right, Lord, this is it. You've liberated me. I don't have to deal with this abortion stuff anymore. I'm done. You know, there was still more in there. And yes, he's healed and he's softened my heart, and it's been a process. And there's been lots of moments of doing that. But when it finally came to these classes, I'm still finding out there's still so much left. And he might have healed one area, but here I am holding on to anger over myself for all these years. And now I feel like he's finally shown me, like, there's more, like, let's get it all out. And so the one thing about inner healing that I think is important is that when we go to the God encounters, it's such a group thing, and that's a beautiful thing. Inner healing is a very personal thing. And you can do this on your own. You really can.
You can.
I love, and the word says where there's one or more, right?
Amen. He's
there. And so, like, and it's not to say he's not there when it's just you, but to have someone praying over you as you're asking, as you're seeking the Lord to start revealing these things, it's completely different. And so, again, I just, like, do it. Just go and get it done.
Well, I hope that hearing Maribel's testimony about her experience with abortion and abortion recovery, and now getting involved to promote Choices Women's Center and promote the work that they're doing, not only to help prevent abortion and to preserve life, but to care for the women and men in our community that might be faced with this kind of decision.
Yes, and you said men. Yes, and men. It's not just for women.
Yeah.
And men. That is amazing in itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say we went to a meeting today, and there were some gentlemen that were there represented, and it brings me joy because this is a community issue. It's a family issue. We are a kingdom family, and we should all be working to preserve the life of our family members. So I just want to thank you for being so bold and brave in this and sharing. And I just hope that it encourages you, someone, if you've been through this, trust that if you've heard this, you've heard it for a reason. Trust that God is going to send the right people to come around you. If that's us, we would be honored to walk alongside you in your healing process. We'd be honored to get you connected to the right resources. But check out Choices Women's Center. Participate in the Walk With Us. By the time that you see this video, we'll be fundraising.
Yes.
They have a goal to raise $500,000 this year. They're providing pregnancy tests, sonograms, STD testing, and then they're also providing the recovery classes, the parenting classes,
life coach, everything.
Baby boutique.
Baby showers, yes.
I mean, they are really doing it, and it top notch.
Yeah.
Really making people feel worthy of this. So check them out. But pray for those in our community, those men and women who've dealt with abortion, who've been affected by it. Thank you for watching. Remember, it starts with one. It starts with one, and it starts with you. Thank you for watching. God bless you.